What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering. We've got a lot going on today, but I think the biggest and most important topic is continued softening of video games, even ones that are rated M, and it's a pretty sad story. But I want to start off by letting everyone know that this story was covered by Exclusively Games. If you remember, 6 months ago, this website was funded by all of you, and it's come to fruition. It's growing in traffic every single month. We have a full-time editor, a full-time news desk, as well as a huge stable of writers. And twice a year, in order to keep the site ad-free, as we continue to build back-end revenue, growing our YouTube channel, twice a year, we're going to raise money to pay everybody. This is a site that I have not, nor ever will, take a dime from. 100% of the funding goes back into the site, and there's going to be a lot to cover this year. This is gaming, not just video games, completely apolitical, completely ad-free, sponsored by and serving you and you alone. We don't work for advertisers, we work for you. We're 6 months in. It's our 6-month birthday, and we're looking to get everything funded for the rest of the year. And we have we're going to just do t-shirt sales early on. We have this cool 6-month anniversary t-shirt, as well as a different, like a fancier 6-month design. We went out and had like a professional, what would you call it, like a fashion person do this. And we have 2 different t-shirts. If we can move a couple thousand of these, site will smoothly operate until the end of the year. I know just about everybody on the planet is doing crowdfunders these days, but if you need some t-shirts, or you want to keep funding apolitical ad-free content, I'll leave a link to this in the description below, and I'll continue to add more information to the crowdfunder. I, of course, invite you to check out the actual site and see that we've delivered on almost everything as promised. We're currently working on the mobile app, as well as the reviews section, but here it is. So, enough of that. No smoking allowed in Gears 5. Now, when they came for our waifus, people said nothing. And now that they've taken control of them, it's about removing smoking in video games, which is, I think a noble cause, to be honest with you, and would probably be a total non-story if it just didn't have any in it. But it did, and of course, the creator or people like Turd Ferguson, have trotted out looking for digital backpats. In reply to Game Informer saying, "To be fair, it's not entirely accurate. I've been against smoking from the beginning and have worked hard to not have it a part of our franchise." He's the studio head. I mean, you just say don't have it. He's positioning himself it would appear, as like other people around him are forcing him to do something. He's the head of the studio. Ever notice that Dizzy concept art for Gears 2 had a SIG, but the actual character in the game doesn't? I stopped it. Woo, stunning and brave. To which someone replied, "Maybe I'm becoming an old man, but why is this an issue in an M-rated game? Characters can drink themselves to end, and nobody bats an eye, but if it's a smoke, it's a big deal." He replies with a sketchy answer, I think. "Simply because I didn't want to glamorize something that's addictive and could end you. Wasn't trying to be any more. I'm assuming he means be. Wasn't trying to be any moral police, just reflecting my beliefs after losing friends to lung cancer. If you had the ability to create a world, what would you change?" This is a really slippery answer. He in the first sentence he says, "I'm not trying to moral police," but then he literally says that's what he's doing. He's saying it's against my morals, so it's not in the game. Again, Not a big deal had it had never been there in the first place, but the fact that he's going out of his way now to justify it and act like he's stunning and brave is why it's interesting. And it's just a slow erosion of realism in modern AAA video games. That's why the indie market is going to continue to dominate, because people want that. It's not about the SIGs in general, obviously. It's about the fact that it's just another thing that you're trying to protect people from who aren't asking for it. This is a game that is for people who are over the age of 18, the same people that can go buy a pack of smokes anyway. The great coverage by Jack Lindsay on exclusivelygames.com talks corporate partnerships with Truth Initiatives, Turner promoting partnerships to huge publicity event, many fans voicing skepticism. Thanks to the efforts of the Truth Initiative, a nonprofit organization responsible for the commercials in the video above, again, also funded by Big Tobacco, I believe, Gears 5 will contain no depiction of any tobacco-related products. The decision stemmed from Truth approaching Turner Sports, which owns E-League, which in turn owns broadcasting rights to Gears 5, who started with Turner. This decision made it down the chain of command all the way to developers at the Coalition, where the studio head Ron Ferguson had this to say. I've seen firsthand the devastating impact of this, and it's always been important to me to not use it as a narrative device, which is why we made the conscious choice to avoid highlighting and glorifying smokes in Gears 5 and throughout the Gears of War universe moving forward. Interestingly, this concern for the devastating impact of smoking was minimally present until Turner started promoting their partnership with Truth. Interesting. Hey, good point there, Jack. As it happens, it is just in time for the E-League Gears Summer Series Invitational, a Twitch live tournament on July 13th for 14th that will debut Gears 5. So if you read between the line here, maybe they said, hey, you want some free promo? You've got to do this. You've got to get on board with our narrative if you want your narrative. Isn't that interesting? I thought it was about seeing the devastating effects, Rod, but it would appear to me that it looks like you're doing it in exchange for promotion. That's just what it looks like to me. Seth Ledesky, Senior VP of Turner Sports Sales and Head of Turner Sports Digital, E-League Sales, blah, 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 showed a bit more light on the motivations behind the change. This took a lot of time and a lot of good thinking. It's the right image for the E-League and the game itself to project, he said. Now, again, I don't necessarily disagree with this. However, it is an M-rated game. Tearing people limb from limb with chainsaws is fine, but heaven forbid someone have to burn one in the game. It's just ridiculous, especially if you look at people that would in the forces would probably be burning them one after another. Okay, so executive decisions, especially those within the AAA studios, have enormous corporations, follow one imperative above all: maximizing profit. Every little detail about the game, its marketing, association, etc., is meticulously considered in terms of how it will affect bottom line. So ultimately, the powers that be have calculated that they stand to gain more than they risk losing in their alliance with the masterminds behind the commercials above. But the result is as transparent and out of touch as the commercials themselves. Who knows, though? Maybe time will prove their tactics are right, but don't be fooled by these tweets from Ferguson. See, Jack sees right through it. This is the first time I read the article. Jack sees right through it, too. If Turner calculated the tobacco imagery would boost their public image and ultimately open up to more cash flow, you better believe they'd be promoting their partnership with Marlboro prior to the Twitch tournament. It's a shame, really, because there are competent ways to challenge smoking, ways that don't tread anywhere near, hello, fellow kids. You'll be safer if I've hidden the no-no sticks from your impressionable little eyeballs. Personally, Jack says, I find smoking revolting. But after watching those Truth ads, I want a cig in one hand and a vapor in the other. And the beautiful people at Exclusive Games, the viewers say, hey, just a thought about showing the effect in the game. Example, have, a hero who survives the impossible ends up dying of lung cancer. I mean, you could have all sorts of, interesting things. Now, remember that Gears 5 has had a lot of interesting woke things going on. I mean, the franchise has its ingrained fans, but they keep doing more and more things to alienate people, and it's interesting when it seems to me so clearly financially motivated that you'd have Rod Ferguson out here. I mean, he's the head of the studio. If you didn't want the sticks, then just get rid of them. Censoring content out of the game before it even releases is a pretty huge turnoff. This is on One Angry Gamer. If the focus on a story themed around feminist empowerment wasn't enough to put you off, which Gears of 5 has a pretty, I'm a strong independent woman who don't need no man narrative, or the fact that Gears 5 is part of Facebook's Women in Gaming social engineering initiative, or the fact that the game design scope for the game is focused around diversity before gameplay quality of the franchise continuity, or the fact that the game is already censoring content out of an M-rated title, then I literally don't know what else to tell you other than you must really enjoy propaganda. In fact, leading up to its release, one of the developers at the Coalition kept hammering home about how diverse Gears 5 is and how much it aims to accommodate feminist ideology, as present in an interview on Electronic Playground Network. Unless there's some switcheroo or huge turnaround for campaign mode where masculinity ramps up by 200%, you get to play as JD and Marcus Phoenix, and the gore, violence, and horror factors are increased tenfold. I literally don't see how Gears 5 is going to escape the Get Woke, Go Broke master list. It's reminding me very much of the Agents of Mayhem insofar as they took a solid game concept, focused on all the wrong elements for a phantom audience that doesn't exist. And ultimately, that's the takeaway from this. This seems to be the takeaway every single time corporations do this garbage. It's like, okay, who's asking for this? Which one of your Gears customers were asking you to change the title of the game? Which one of your customers was asking you to remove the SIGs? Which one of your customers was asking you to portray feminist beliefs in the video game? I'm going to guess, and this is probably, unfortunately, it's just a wild guess. I'm going to guess that number is 0. And this is the type of stuff that leads to more gaslighting. It was like, oh, Tifa's cup size is just a little bit smaller. Ooh, angry gamer boys are so mad. It's not a big deal. Scoff, scoff, scoff. Ooh, it's just SIGs. Big deal. Scoff, scoff, scoff. Right, okay. Talk to me in a year and tell me how generic, sterile, and boring AAA games have become. Hey, long live the indie game scene. To be honest with you, it's time for these dinosaurs to literally go the way of the dinosaur. I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you again real soon.